Welcome to Super Max Z, where my theory today might sound insane, but it's actually not unfounded. Shown is of a Dragon Ball character called Launch. I want to show some key features of Launch as shown in this scene, which will support my theory. Her eyes could either be black or blue, but her hair is for sure blue in all depictions, but at least the eyes could either. Let's go to the clip next here. This is Launch after sneezing. This isn't exactly after sneezing of the original clip, but another clip of Launch from a different episode. But let me show the importance of the design here. Launch is shown to have yellow hair and green eyes. In most all photos I have found, she is depicted in green eyes while having yellow hair, and at least blue or black eyes while having blue hair as shown above, meaning this is a character trait of her in the design. Let me show you another photo of somebody whose eyes are green and have yellow hair. Goku in his Super Saiyan form. People will start saying, okay, the eyebrows didn't turn golden, but technically we don't really know. If I'm sure for most other Super Saiyans who turned Super Saiyan after Goku, their eyebrows did also turn yellow. But you have to also realize this was before Super Saiyan was invented, so most likely if any Super Saiyans were still to exist before then, their eyebrows may not turn yellow. But now most people have confused and start asking, what do you mean if a Super Saiyan was to exist? What if I was to tell you right now? This scene shows that Launch can be able to withstand a rocket launcher that was able to explode a train. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think any normal person could be able to withstand that without being pushed back by the recoil of such a motion. But Launch has been able to do that because she's a Saiyan, and let me explain now. Launch is shown to act in her blue-haired form, which is just her base form, is separate from how she acts in her yellow hair, which for sure is her Super Saiyan form. I can argue with people for that for a long time. But here's my explanation. If we are to assume, like how it's shown, that sneezing just makes Launch switch personalities and hair, it wouldn't make sense why she would somehow grow strong enough, because Launch with blue hair is shown to be more timid and weak, if I was to say, not being mean, but she's depicted like that, while the yellow-haired Launch is normally shown to be more aggressive and stronger and more mean. So now here's my simple explanation. We know from Talis that some Saiyans had abandoned planet Vegeta before then. But wait, I know some people are commenting that Launch couldn't have been a Saiyan who abandoned planet Vegeta. And I am hearing people already starting to type, but that's not what the theory I'm stating is going to state. My theory is going to state one thing, which needs you to see the photo again so that I can explain. Launch, of course, couldn't be the one who escaped from planet Vegeta or deserted, because he has blue hair, and most pure-blooded Saiyans who are not half Saiyans have exactly black hair. We haven't seen any other color of Saiyan hair. The only other colors of Saiyan hair are for the half Saiyans. So what I'm saying, either one of Launch's parents was a Saiyan who deserted planet Vegeta. Now that's what I'm saying. Why they didn't end up conquering the planet, or if they just failed or deserted for a reason, or maybe they were just like Bardock and wanted another purpose, or whatever reason they deserted and didn't conquer Earth, that is the only explanation to why Launch has the ability to turn Super Saiyan. Now when we switch to the new photo, which is happening now, after I've said this, I'll explain why Launch's personality might seem to change. And now this can be because no people knew about Super Saiyan before, maybe even her, she kind of linked it to her sneezing as a way for her to switch identities. And if she was ever to be figured out, it would just be known as like personality changes, like most of the fandom has been believing for most of these years. Because that would be a sound explanation. Because let's see how this can work. Launch is a hardened criminal who wants to pretend not to be a criminal. So she uses her Super Saiyan form as the criminal form because she has more power and she's stronger than other humans. Even though she doesn't have martial arts training, even at an average level of a human at 5 times 50, that's exactly 250 at least for the power level, meaning no human at the time could have defeated her, at least except Master Roshi, who would of course be stronger. Right, so now she uses the blonde hair form to do crimes, but because she doesn't want to be realized, she uses her base form as a kind of form, right? Because she's getting used to it. It's like she's mastered Super Saiyan because of staying in that form a lot. She decided what would be the catalyst that could at least allow me to transform without being questioned, and she decided it would be sneezing. Because let me ask you, if she knew she sneezes and turns back to her a different personality, then explain this particular scene. Launch knows that when she sneezes, she turns back. I wasn't able to use the audio to avoid copyright, but she says, oh no, meaning she does know. Meaning if the normal explanation where she has multiple personalities is true, why would a hardened criminal keep that strand of hair? Most likely should have cut it. I know I don't understand how hair works for most things and people's preferences and all, but if I was to assume, at least a hardened criminal wouldn't keep something that turns them back into like a frail person, because it could risk things like what has just happened. Meaning the only logical explanation in my eyes is that she has linked transforming Super Saiyan by sneezing, and yes, she doesn't have to follow the rules, but most likely she just does it because it's fun, pretending like she doesn't want to, mostly because it's most likely and entertaining. Yes, you'd say it seems like Launch wouldn't do that for maybe the people who have seen a lot, but remember, this is a theory with only the evidence I found. So meaning, here's the conclusion to my theory. Launch is a half Saiyan who one of her parents escaped from or deserted planet Vegeta like Talis. She acts kind in her base form, either out of sincerity or an act, one of those two. Goes Super Saiyan after sneezing as a choice, most likely to have more fun with it than it would be just to transform to do a crime. So she most likely linked it to sneezing to have more entertainment and more fun. Then in her Super Saiyan form, if she sneezes, she goes back, but in her Super Saiyan form, she does crime. Even when she doesn't want to and she sneezes, she does go back to her base form, either because she's acting in the routine or just pretends like she doesn't want to. But in her Super Saiyan form, she does crimes. So this is my theory on Launch. I'm sure some people will believe it and some people will not believe it. Even if the people don't believe it, this is Super Max Z heading out.